I'm in the Stages kit, probably just up the road on some funky steel bike I think I got from the... Hopefully, I assume, I guess we're on the same route, and well, I mean, I don't think I have a way to get.
Fly away, fly away, fly away with me. It's time to fly away, fly away. His blood set me free. It's time to fly away, fly away. Fly away, fly away with me. It's time to fly away, fly away. His blood set me free. It's time to fly away, fly away.
Punters, welcome to Zwift with the pros. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope the audio is okay. You can't hear Geoff right now, but now you can. Geoff, say hello.
Hello, punter fans. Hope you guys are doing well.
Okay, I think that should be all good. I made a mistake by not opening up my Zwift soon enough, so those that did join the group ride, hopefully you can still kind of find us. Geoff, I think I've headed out just a little bit past you here, if you want to catch up.
Oh, all right. Dropping me already.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. So, Geoff, what we're going to do today is we're going to do something called the mountain route, which is up one of Zwift's, obviously, up one of Zwift's mountains. And as we go along, we're going to do a little interview, a little question chat about a whole bunch of things. How do you feel about that? Well, you don't really have a choice. I don't know why I've asked you.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. I think I just passed you.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I can see you. I can see you on
Oh,
my
yeah.
Zwift. I can see you on my Zwift companion app.
Yeah,
No,
I can see you.
Have you seen how many people are riding Zwift at the moment? It's nuts.
Yeah, no, I think I just saw over around 25,000 and done some group rides with 1,000 people. So,
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to split up this chat into a few different segments, because this climb has a few different segments.
sounds good.
So, and as we get further and further up the climb, the questions get more intense, just like the bike ride. But
All right.
Geoff, you're one of the hardest professional mountain bikers out there, so I imagine your mental game is just as strong. So I don't think you're going to have any problem whatsoever.
All right. I might have some questions for you too.
Oh, okay. We can do back and forth. So I'm gonna guess that most of the people watching here might not know who you are, despite being such a legend of mountain biking. So let's give some basic stats here. So, who are you? What's your age? Where do you live? Who are your sponsors? That kind of thing.
Well, my name's Geoff Kabush. I grew up on Vancouver Island, a little town called Courtenay. Some of you might have heard of Cumberland, quite a riding destination. But started my racing career more on the XC side of things. Kind of worked my way up through the World Cup and had a pretty long, successful World Cup career. Went to Olympics 3 times. Got one of those World Cup wins in 2009, and kind of last several years,
Yeah, in Bromont.
kind of
I've done my
transitioned into. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Bromont was a pretty crazy day. Kind of torrential thunderstorms an hour before, and that's kind of where I always excelled in the mud. So a pretty special day after my World Cup career to finally get one there.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I think was that. Oh, I guess that would have been one of the Earth's. Like I wasn't that much into cross country, as you know, surprise, back then. But I imagine that would have been like. Did you ever watch the Earth series of DVDs or videos?
Sure, I've seen some of them.
I'm pretty sure there was like the downhill race, because they had a downhill race on the same weekend, right?
Yeah. We used to. I think back then they were almost all triple weekends, which was kind of nice because we got to do the XC and watch the downhill as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I remember. If it's the segment I'm thinking of, it was pretty horrendously wet and gnarly.
Yeah, horrendously wet, and Bromont was pretty unique with the soil. They're really sandy, so people were having to change their brake pads in the middle of the race, and pretty epic conditions.
That's so gnarly. Okay, so who are you riding for right now? Let's be sponsors' dreams here, and let you give a quick plug.
Well, yeah, I was actually I've been on professional teams my whole career, but the last 3 years I've kind of started my own program like a lot of athletes, and major sponsors are Yeti, along with Maxxis and Shimano, Fox, Stans, the list goes on. But yeah, really lucky to have built a bunch of good relationships over my career, and now I'm kind of doing a pretty diverse schedule, endurance events, a little bit of gravel, a little bit of enduro, whatever is fun. On pause, obviously, this year, but just trying to enjoy staying fit, and we'll see when we get back to the racing.
Yeah. So what have you? You're pretty new to this Zwift thing. So what have you been using it for so far?
Well, yeah. It was funny. Not a huge indoor trainer these days when I can, but luckily enough, kind of connected with Zwift and got the full setup last month, which, man, has really been kind of a savior. I'm kind of up in Truckee where it's still a bit winter and kind of locked down. And so it's been kind of the only outlet to kind of stay safe and exercise a bit up here. Don't really feel comfortable going out in the backcountry right now. Just trying to follow the rules. So it's been fun to just kind of connect with people. Led a group ride the other day on the tour of Watopia with a couple hundred people, and it's pretty good timing for those guys. Really cool software. I've just been trying not to do too many of the events because it's pretty easy to push yourself. That's for sure.
Yeah. So have you done any races yet?
Oh, I've tried. Yeah.
So you have to wind it up to like 400, 500 watts before you start.
Yeah, the races are amazingly brutal. So it's pretty easy to get motivated to go hard.
Yeah, I tried to do one race, right? And I was on the phone with my friend who was doing the same race. And he was like, okay, you got to wind this up to like 500 watts before we start. I'm like, oh, okay. And I wind it up, and then it says go. And then like my AM Plus connection just cut out. And it was almost like when you snap a chain and you go like, oh, because my trainer had no resistance, like all of a sudden. And we've been warming up for like half an hour. I was like, no! It was so frustrating. Okay, let's talk.
But it's a bit stupidly addictive, the game, really.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So let's talk about what bikes you like to ride, because this is all my audience will want to know. It's like every man biker will just classically default to talking about the bikes that they ride, right? So let's get this out of the way. Let's get it done. Let's keep it like, in terms of like, do you ride your cross-country bike more? Do you ride your enduro bike more nowadays? Like, what's the split?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I got some really nice bikes. The Yetis that have all the 29ers, the SB100, the 130, the 150, and then I got a cool partnership actually with Open Bikes for the gravel, which are some really cool bikes as well. But I was just back up in Squamish. You're the neck of the woods, and the start of March for 10 days.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, just to jump in, we're basically neighbours. You live on the other side of the train tracks from me. This is going to sound weird, but I've actually been in your house. You weren't there.
Oh yeah.
You know when ALN was filming the Rocky Mountain bike, the Slayer, the launch?
Yeah.
I played the Slayer in one of them. And
nice.
You're like, oh yeah, this is Kabush. Kabush lives here as well. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, it's my official hometown, but I'm still a bit of a gypsy, but it's a super cool place to come back to. So when I'm home, I typically ride my trail bikes.
Oh yeah.
There in Squamish, the SB150 or the 130. Probably my the 130 that I've kind of lunch ride, put the longer fork on, is probably my favorite bike, but been spending more time on the 150 just because I gonna race that. Hopefully a bit. Did the EWS and North Star last year and gonna race it.
Oh, did you?
Hopefully at the Crankworks EWS. So I was just home getting that dialed in a bit, playing around with position and suspension a bit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, typically a lot of the events I do are more of the endurance events. So I do spend a ton of time on the SB100. Ride that a lot more down south here in the US at a lot of the events. And of course, BC Bike Race in the middle of the summer, which is one of my favorite events for sure.
Yeah, I did. Well, we'll talk about the bike races because I did that last year as well. We probably had a different experience, I imagine. So, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Levy started this term downcountry, and I'm all in on it. You must have some opinions on like how bikes are categorized nowadays, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all shades of the rainbow with the bikes. It's hard to define what bikes are, especially like my SB100 would probably be in that category, and it's just crazy it's the bike I race XC on, but man, it feels like put different tires on and feels like a little trail bike. And man, you can do a lot of stuff on bikes with the right geometry, and I mean, that's what's been fascinating to watch through my career is how the bikes have changed and the technology has changed. And there's just a ton of fun bikes. I mean,
Yeah.
I can, like some of the jump trails down here in Truckee, it's kind of mind blowing that I'm doing them on my quote unquote XC bike.
Yeah.
With some sizable jumps and yeah, it's just a good time to be a bike rider, I think. And
it's crazy, isn't it?
Definitely, I don't know. There's still a place for the full XC World Cup race bikes, but I mean, I'm just lucky to be kind of the point in my career where I'm riding exactly the kind of bikes I'd want to buy if I was just going out and having fun on the trails too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got my Scott Spark. I built it up like Meteor tires and then like trail gear. And then this year, I'm lucky enough to put. I'm gonna build it up this week actually, and finally put an XCR build on one of my bikes, which I'm so excited about because like I've never owned a bike with XTR on it, and it's like you know, forever growing up and everything, it was like the pinnacle of what you wanted. You know, it's like XTR, no way. So I can't wait. I guess every bike has got XCR on yours, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I remember when I first started racing, I didn't get it on my race bike for quite a while, and then I remember the first time I got it, I still, you know, had that aura about it, and I didn't even want to ride my bike in the winter because I didn't want to wear out my XTR. So
yeah,
it's yeah, I've been lucky enough to be on Shimano for almost my entire career, minus maybe 1 or 2 years. But yeah, it's pretty lucky to be supported by all these companies and get some really cool stuff to ride.
Yeah, it's pretty like. So I've only kind of really been getting used to shifting under load and everything, and it's been blowing my mind. Every time I'm just like, whoa, this is work. But what has been the biggest game changer, like tech-wise? This is the last tech question, by the way, and then we're not going to do any more. But what was the biggest game changer in technology? Because you've lived through everything.
Yeah, I mean, so many. I can a couple examples. I mean, when I started racing, I mean, we didn't have tubeless. So if you can imagine,
wow.
I used to race across country with 52 and 55 psi in my tires.
What? No way. And like 1.7 tire width or something?
Yeah, I mean, I used to, back in the day, be on these like semi-slicks. So I'd run these 1.9 semi-slicks everywhere at 52, 55 psi. So that was pretty a game changer. I remember at first, Hutchinson, I think, came out with these like 300 gram latex tubes, and we could run like 32 psi, and that was like mind blowing. And then, yeah, I mean, I ran like stands kind of under, even though I wasn't sponsored, I started eventually running those. And I mean, now we're down to, along with Cushcore, now I'm running, I mean, I'll be racing at 19 PSI. So,
whoa. I
mean, that alone has just been wild. But I certainly remember disc brakes living in Canada was a huge game changer too. Remember with the old rim V-brakes,
yeah,
we could ride maybe like 3 hours in the winter, and the brake pads would be completely shot.
That's crazy.
So I remember when we got the first disc brakes, it was pretty game changing because then we could actually ride the mountain bikes all winter up in Canada and spend a lot more time on the trails without having to rebuild our bikes every day. And yeah, I remember I was actually one of the first. I remember Shimano athletes, me and my teammate Peter Wedge, to ride the first XTR disc brakes, I think in 03 out in Mount Snow, the last Northern National round, and definitely been an early adopter of all those kind of things, because you certainly see the difference in those things riding up in the conditions we get in BC.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I can't even imagine riding like the trails Like even now, you go and ride like a huge slab, like in an out burger or something. Like that probably, you know, to someone like myself for sure would have not been at all on the thought. You know, when you have like avid single digits, like trying to work the V brakes and everything.
No, I mean, I remember, my first race bike, I think, was a Kona Lavadome.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was around 30 pounds, fully rigid, and I think my mom eventually got rid of it as a townie just a little while ago. But man, it's just mind blowing. I think back to like some of the trails we used to ride on those things, and I think it's just one of those things. Speed solves anything. We couldn't slow down, so you just kind of were able to roll out all these steep drops because you just couldn't stop.
Amazing. Okay, now I don't know if you noticed, but we've started up the climb, Geoff. The heavy climb has begun, so we're gonna take it up. Oh, by the way, anyone watching, if you would like to ask Geoff or myself a question, pop it in the chat. I have a producer, Geoff. This is pretty big time now. I have my housemate Dan, or producer Dan, taking down all of the best questions. So be interesting. Don't be something lame like, which bike should I get for $2,000? Don't do that. Ask something good, and you will make it. So, so now you mentioned that you're doing way different races. Like you're doing a load of trans races and kind of the biggest stuff. Like how has your training changed over the last like 10, like compared now to like, 10 years ago you would have been ramping up for the London Olympics.
Yeah.
Like how is it, what's different?
Well, I never did a ton of like specific intervals, but even less so these days. It's the racing is really my training these days, which unfortunately we're not doing a lot. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm almost turning 43 this year, and I've been doing a ton of like stage races, whether it's like Trans-Provence or BC Bike Race or small ones like Moab Rocks or Breck Epic. And man, that's my training. I gotta definitely take a lot more time to kind of recover and get fresh. So a lot of it's, my training in the winter is just some pretty basic riding, and I'll kind of do a bit of tempo on some climbing stuff for intensity, and then the racing is enough for me. I mean, that's just, luckily from so many years of training, I know my body really well.
Yeah.
And just got to really kind of pay attention to the recovery and kind of wait for that, those good sensations to come back. Because, man, at this age, if I get in a hole, it's hard to climb out of.
Yeah. No,
those long stage races are brutal.
Yeah, I'm 32. So, but I haven't had like the decades of fitness. Like in my early 20s, I was terrible. I lived in a pub at one point. I was like 200. Yeah. I was like 200 pounds, just like the most unhealthy person. And then I got a new one. I gave up riding for a few years, like during university, and then I moved down to London to work for Dirt magazine, and the publisher. And I started, and that's why, because I wanted to get back into riding. And then I dug at some trails, as in like dirt jumps, and all the kids there, like it was a pretty brutal. Also a brutal culture, I guess you could say. And everyone just like, it would like, if you did half a day of digging, you couldn't stand for that. And it was the same with my weight actually. So the guys just immediately like, Paul, like do some weight, like get fitter, come on. And then that's probably what like sent me off to where I am right now, I guess. But let's talk, go on.
I got little known fact for you. I kind of started riding off-road in England.
Oh, really?
When I was 12, my parents were both teachers. So I did a teacher exchange in the southwest, Taunton, Somerset. And I had an old 10-speed Peugeot. And I used to go ride with my buddy in the hills there. And obviously get two flat tires, stuff my tires with leaves, and try to
No, that's a myth. That's a myth. That doesn't work. The stuffing with grass, that doesn't work.
No, but yeah, when I came back in 9th grade, back to Canada, that's when I got my first mountain bike and started riding more.
Oh, cool. Okay, so, who'd you look up to in the world of biking? Like, compared to back then to like now?
Well, I mean, my role model when I started was definitely John Tomac.
Yeah.
He was a guy that kind of did multiple disciplines, and so I actually raced downhill when I started at the first World Championships when I was a junior. I did both downhill and cross country, and just kind of looked up to his like approach to the sport. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like respect riders who can, you know, have that focus and be serious, but still enjoy themselves and have fun and are able to laugh at themselves, I think.
Yeah. And then what about being? Sorry. What about?
Go ahead.
What about like? How is it different being a professional bike rider now compared to let's go again 2012 Olympics? Like how is it your world changed?
Well, I mean, I guess I can do whatever I want these days, which is a bit of a luxury, although it comes with a lot of responsibility around my own program. The to-do list is never ending. Back then, I was like part of a professional team, so very focused. All I had to do was, you know, train very specifically for cross country and show up the races, and it was a much simpler life. I think the biggest change, especially even before that, you know, this internet thing has really changed what an athlete has to do. I mean, when I started, it was such a simple life. I mean, the end of the season, you just went home and trained and rode your bike all winter. Maybe did a little bit of product stuff, but this year it's a much more complicated world. I mean, I get a lot of questions about how do you become a pro cyclist, and the path these days and the ways to get there is so much different. It's hard to give advice, but you know, I'm lucky to the place where I have a platform and a lot of good relationships, and just right place, right time now with so many cool events besides the cross country World Cups that I did most of my career. So just a lot of really fun events I get to do these days.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Obviously, I'll probably get more the whole like how do you get sponsored thing, because people look at me and go, how the hell do you get like what? But I guess not many people will be like, oh, you know, he has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, puts out regular videos, they all get seen. And I guess that's like, it's pretty insane. Like if you told me, you know, back when I was, you know, in the industry, but they'd be like, oh yeah, you're going to be like someone that someone would want to watch. I'd be like, get out. There's no way. It's like that. Yeah. For me, when I sort of realized it was happening and I enjoyed doing this, it was, it changed my life, obviously. But it must be such a serious shift for, you know, actual athletes to be like, okay, this is now the new normal. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different aspects of being an athlete these days, or an ambassador like yourself, and I think the biggest thing is, just takes time to kind of build those relationships, and I'm sure for you to build your audience and get to where you are. Yeah, it took a couple of years, couple of big videos, and then like everyone kind of thinks that it's like, oh yeah, I'll just do it. It's like, nah, it's pretty tricky. Not as hard athletically, obviously. But okay, let's jump back into the BC bike race, talking about the difference between pro and an amateur. Like I'd never done. So I started to do cross country events this year. Like I did the Spacquas, and I did the NIMBY. Yeah. I did the NIMBY as well, with a broken rib and separated AC. But like the bike race, it started so classic. Like it all seemed so chill. Like the first 3 days when it was actual mountain biking, or in my eyes, what actual mountain biking is. Then Powell River comes. And it's just like flat by all, and you're just like, what the hell? So like, now there was this one tale that Marcus Rigger, one of the photographers, told me. They were all on e-bikes, right?
Yeah.
And Margus apparently is like near the front, and he's like, oh, there's this climb here. I'm just gonna hoon up, get out in front of the leaders. He had it on boost mode on the e-bike, so the most powerful. And then he hoons up, gets to the top, just as you came up with the leading group. And he was like, he just couldn't believe it. I don't think he got any photos. But like, how much like, do you measure power when you're racing something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough in a race like that, especially BC single track, but the only time you can really watch it is on kind of the extended climbs, kind of knowing yourself and just from training, knowing what you can kind of sustain. But man, once you get into a stage race like that, you just kind of have to go on feeling a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, by the end of those stage races, my heart rate will barely get over 150 just because the body's tired and the heart's tired, and you have to really kind of just go on feeling at that point.
But did you have a power meter, I guess? Like, do you look at a dock monitor and kind of that's how you measure it, or is it heart rate?
Yeah, I mean, if you notice, I'm representing my sponsors on Zwift right now, my Stages cycling kit. But yeah, it's been with the new bikes, it's been harder and harder to fit the power meters on the mountain bikes with the wider BD.
Oh yeah, because they're all getting
Stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, but luckily now Stages does the right side power meter where there's more room around the spider. So I have the XTR crank with just the meter on the right side. So I have power on all my bikes, and I definitely use it, more just to look back and review, and yeah, a little bit on those long climbs and races, but it's more just a really nice tool to kind of monitor progress a bit, which I don't do nearly as much as I used to, but
yeah,
definitely really, really nice to have a bit more info to gauge everything.
Yeah. And what is like, so back in the mid pack, which is where I was hanging out, things got a little bit heated every once in a while, and I was guilty of it as well. I did a whole video series, right, of the whole race.
Yeah.
And on the last video, people were not happy with me. To the point, someone even emailed one of my sponsors to be like, "What the hell?" And then they watched it and they were like, "Pretty sure this guy was just racing." So, but we had a lot of like, I don't want to kind of be anyway xenophobic here, but there was a certain type of mountain biker that would like smash you on the climbs, like goodbye. The moment it was going down, it was like they were going backwards. And like there was definitely some stresses from everyone. But at the front, like, what's it like? Like, are you all pretty chill? Like you're all in this together?
Yeah, I mean, I feel super lucky that I can get out of the traffic and enjoy myself, because I've done the guest days back when they had guest days and we had to start at the back of 700 people. And
oh my God, no way.
I remember, doing the Squamish day, and I mean, the first 2 hours, it's tough to enjoy the single track just because of the lineups and people. I remember lining up on Rupert for 5 minutes. But no, I mean, unfortunately, it's like, it seems to be the complete opposite. People that are fast on the uphills aren't that great on the downhills. I've dealt with that in my career racing World Cups, and it's definitely a challenge. And yeah, you just have to hope everyone's kind of respectful and lets people go and everyone can enjoy themselves. But yeah, certainly I imagine challenging back there in the traffic.
Yeah, do any moments that, like, have there been any big moments in your career where like it's been like, get the out of the way, like, oh, and you've like really let yourself go?
Well, it's just like there's this one German guy who amazingly he'd Wolfram Kerschat, and he actually had a couple years where he's on the podium at some World Cups, but man, he was just the worst descender in the world. Even like ahead of his time, he had a full suspension and riser bar. But I don't know if he had some vision problems, but man, it was just like it was a scene, like he got Wolfram today, because man, if you couldn't get ahead of them, it was the most frustrating thing. Because you'd literally lose a couple minutes on a long descent.
Oh man. Would you talk to each other? Would you be like, dude, like pull over?
I know, well, it's just like, man, he'd be aware where he was in the race, and you'd just be looking over your shoulder, getting to the top of the climb, and hoping you could stay in front of him. No, I haven't had too many argy-bargy kind of incidents, except maybe in a couple of the short tracks and the U.S. national rounds where I had to kind of hold my position. But luckily, I was always had the bit bigger and had the wider riser bars, so I was usually the one who stayed up.
Yeah, that must have like over the no more gear chat. I was almost going to do it. What about diet? Like, are you pretty strict nowadays? Because obviously your schedule's changed so much. But I mean, yeah, what's the difference between now and back then?
No, I mean, I've never, been super strict. I mean, you hear stories of people weighing their food, and I mean, it's something you had to be aware of, but it was never productive in my career to be too careful. I mean, the biggest thing, it did make a big difference when I kind of learned more about good food and diet. But that's more, eating around the edges of the grocery store. More fruits and vegetables.
That's a good tip.
Less processed stuff, and it just takes time to get to where you want to be, race fitness and weight. And
yeah,
the most productive thing I always found was just eating more good stuff. More fruits and vegetables, and definitely just make sure I'm eating quality meat and know where it's sourced from when I can. But there's nothing, I don't believe in depriving myself of anything. Always enjoyed, a good Belgian beer or glass of wine. And
hold on.
Just consistency.
On that subject, for those that probably don't know, Geoff does have a YouTube channel. And I saw this video.
I got one good video.
I know. It was some kind of record or something, or challenge. That was like before all this COVID challenge Instagram stuff. You were leading the charge. This must have been 3 years ago or something? 3?
Yeah, I think about 3 years ago I did it.
So explain what this video is.
Well, I mean, I've always enjoyed a bit of humor and stupid ideas in my career, and this is one of them. And actually, it took me a couple years to actually get it together, but involved 2 Chimay Blue Belgian beer, about 9.5%, and 50 push-ups. And I definitely think 50 push-ups is something every serious mountain biker should be able to do.
Oh, really? Oh, crap.
But
the local gym has these workouts.
A bit of a spoof to. Oh yeah, go.
The local gym has these workouts they're putting out, and one of them is 50 push-ups. But then every time you break, you have to do 20 air squats. And I can only do 5 at a time. It took me 6 minutes or something. And then I was like, whoa, that's really hard. And then so many people just went oh yeah, 50 push-ups, yeah, no big deal. And I was like, oh no. New goal.
I think everyone has lots of time, so I'd say start at 10, and then every day add 1.
Okay.
It's part of my quarantine routine.
To
do 50 push-ups a day.
And then,
the video was 2 Chimays, one before 50 push-ups, and then another Chimay in under 60 seconds. So yeah, you can check it out on my YouTube video.
It's so cool. Dan, I know you're listening. Go to Geoff's channel, see if you can find it, and copy the link into the chat so people can find it. So speaking of workouts, do you have a core routine? Because I'm really if I do ever end up on the podium and Brian Lopes is around, I want to make sure I'm prepared. So how do you get a core so you don't even flinch if someone comes at you? That's what I think a lot of people are wondering here.
That's a super important consideration. That's No, I mean, seriously, I mean, I think it's something that a lot of riders underlook too. I mean, I never really did a lot of gym work, but always quite a bit of core. You'd underestimate how much you're actually using on your bike. But I've always just did simple stuff that I can actually do at home. I used to travel with an exercise ball and just like a 5 and 10 pound free weight and just a lot of kind of balance on the ball, kind of muscular endurance, little free weights and some core stuff and the little routines that try to do like an hour twice a week, and that's all I did my whole career.
Okay. All right, Geoff. We're into the mountains now. Things getting serious. The sprinters have dropped off. Who was it? Oh, who was the road racer that used to go to the beach before the mountains? And then he had a bike brand? Cipollini?
Oh, well, yeah, Cipollini.
Maybe. I can't remember. But then he'd send them pictures like, oh, I'm at the mountains, everyone. But so, one thing I'm sure you're going to be able to give some insight on, and it has been a recent topic, is the whole doping stuff. So like obviously in road riding, big news, but never really seemed to happen in the mountain biking world. But like, was it like a big discussion like in that crowd?
Yeah, I mean that was a massive part of my career, and I think it had a lot to do with the money. My career, I started kind of getting better later in the 90s, mid to late 90s and into the 2000s, and that was a time when there was huge contracts. I kind of just missed that curve, but there's a lot of people coming over from the roadside.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, for sure. I mean, I can look back and think what could have been, but I really was kind of lucky to be able to survive and get contracts and race, but it was certainly a big part of my career during that time. And
like how much? I mean, how much would people earn in cross country? Because like Sean Palmer has come out and said he was earning like, what was it? Was he like 500,000 a year or something like that?
Yeah, I mean the Olympics. Mountain bike got into Olympics in '96, and it was kind of the it sport. I mean, yeah, and you saw teams like Velvo Cannondale, and there's rumors that everyone on that team was making at least 300,000 with like a dozen riders. So there was definitely a lot of money going around, but early 2000s, you saw kind of sponsorship drop out. Things diversified a lot more, and the doping situation improved, but not completely, and I never would say it's 100% clean now, but I mean, that's when 2004 I was able to start winning a lot more races, and that was a big part. I mean,
because things were changing.
Yeah, I mean,
I
could still do well. Like at the Grouse Mountain World Cup, I had a bunch of top 10s, but the big part was just my skills, where it was muddy and technical, and I could kind of overcome those doping problems. But I think that's why, like in 2009, when I finally won a World Cup, it felt so special because of that period of my career that I had to kind of fight and deal with a lot of those issues.
Yeah, because I imagine, what's it like you must have been accused at some points by whoever.
Well, I mean, that was my worst fear, is to like finally have some success and people assume you're doping. So I was quite outspoken, kind of starting in 03, 04 with Doper Suck program. A friend of mine.
Program.
I mean, yeah, I was like kind of spurred on by Philippe Merhag, a Belgium, who'd kind of beat me a bunch and then tested positive. Especially the one year at the Sea Otter Classic, he had beat me. So the next year, after he'd been popped for doping, a friend of mine, Brandon, Dwight and Boulder, we made up these Doper Suck t-shirts, wore it on the podium there, and just, and then I started a program, still going with Cycling Canada, kind of race clean, own your victory name of the program. Oh, Richie Rude just passed us there, I saw.
Oh, yeah,
But-
good. The Enduroist has come through. I saw some people in the chat point out that we'd actually dropped him. So I guess he must have gone, oh, hold on. I've got some credibility to take.
But anyway, yeah, I really tried to get out in front of that conversation and, yeah, be a role model for kids that you could race clean and still have some success. And we have some really good Canadian role models that have kind of supported that program. But, yeah, I mean, it's really nice looking back at my career now and having no regrets and no skeletons in the closet, but it was definitely tough. I saw a lot of friends that had to quit the sport because they couldn't get a contract because of guys taking drugs.
That's
taking
crazy.
a lot of those wins and contracts.
And then would the media be like, oh, everyone's at it? Like, was that like the general kind of thought from everyone, or?
No, I mean, I think a lot of people are still pretty naive. It's more, I mean, assumed and speculation a lot more in road racing, but it was definitely a period. But I think a lot of it, yeah, in mountain biking had to do with the contracts and the money that came and went.
Yeah.
But in North America, I mean, we certainly had our share of Canadian dopers as well, but the North American series was always a bit better. And that's what it was able to kind of keep my career going. And being outspoken, I got a lot of support from the community and sponsors as well, which is great.
Yeah, I imagine having that, you do have quite a strong personality from what I see. I mean, doing 50 push-ups while necking 2 beers, it must have, like, a lot of riders probably were like very cautious about it. But then just to come out and, you know, wear t-shirts on the podium, it's pretty ballsy.
Always tried to have some fun. I mean, I was definitely quiet and shy when I was younger, but nice to be in the position now that I don't really care and happy to be able to say whatever I want.
Yeah. What about like, I imagine some of that confidence came from being so tall. But did your height ever hold you back in riding and racing?
I mean, I'm definitely bigger than the average cross-country rider. I think that's a thing that cross-country racing really evolved over my career. I mean, the junior world championships, the first year I went 95, the junior race was won in 2.5 hours. So that was always I came out sprinted 2 guys for 99th place.
Oh, so, wow. Okay. So, I can relate to that, sprinting past people for 230th at Powell River, so been there.
But yeah, I mean, I used to be able to use my strengths, which was kind of pacing and knowing my body, but there's definitely a challenge as the World Cups evolved to be like much punchier, like shorter and shorter courses and really steeper up and down, and a bit more manufactured where there wasn't as much like real subtle technical stuff. So that was a bit harder to adapt as a larger cross-country rider.
Oh yeah.
But it definitely helped me in the kind of technical aspects for sure.
Yeah.
Having more strength, I think.
Quick reminder, questions, post them in the chat. Do you want to know anything? Dan is going through taking them. We're going to get to questions soon, so this is a great time to fire them in. But like, the courses now, do you think you'd be more suited, if you were a pro mountain biker now, do you think you would be up there all the time? Because of the courses, they're like getting pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting discussion. There is more quote unquote features on like World Cup cross country courses, but they're much more pass or fail. So you can either ride them or you can't, and there's not a ton of time to be made up. I mean, all the top riders are quite strong riders, and it depends. There are some really good, more naturally technical courses. Like the Czech Republic was always a good one, and the one in Switzerland where they had Worlds the other year.
Lenzerheide,
But yeah,
I've ridden that track. I was
but it
there.
became but it became more frustrating because everything in between was quite groomed, and so you didn't need as the subtle technical skills for traction and control like on routes that we kind of ride in BC. So I think it would definitely be more challenging still if I was at the top of my game to have the results. I mean, I used to pass a ton of people in the last half an hour, 45 minutes of the race. And that part of the race is no longer. I mean, it's an hour 20, hour and a half race now.
How long did they used to be?
Well, it used to be target 2 hours to 2 hours and 15. And when I started, there's 2.5 hour races. So certainly, I really wish there was short tracks when I was racing, because I always had a lot of success there, being able to use my head and tactics, and that would have been really fun to have those at the World Cup during my career.
Yeah. Okay. What else did I have? Oh, let's talk differences in numbers, because this is something I was always fascinated with. Is like making it kind of quantifiable, the difference between an elite cyclist like yourself and someone like me, average. So I thanks to Zwift, I've got like a little bit more clued up on power and everything, and I've been using it for like the last few years or so. I think when I started out, my FTP was like 2.3 or something, and then this off season I've got to 3.5 watts per kilo.
Yeah.
So like let's talk Kabush peaking, top 10 at the Olympics, 2012. Did you have a top 10 at 2016? No, 2008 you had another one, right?
2008 I had a few issues, flat tires, but 2012 I was 8.
Oh yeah, okay. So like what numbers were you putting out at that point?
I mean, back then, I do a lot of testing, and my sustainable power for say half an hour was probably up around 430, 440 watts.
What? Are you serious? For an hour?
For half an hour, maybe for an hour would probably be more 420, 430 watts.
420. Okay, that's a real Canadian FTP to focus on.
And back then I was probably 74, 75 kilos, and
oh my god,
these days I'm more like 77, 78. So that'd be close. High fives, kind of 5.8, 5.9 watts per kilo or something like that.
That's crazy. And I guess it's not really like, road riders would largely be different because you're all about power and like bursts of power compared to long road stages.
Well, I think that's a bit of a misconception, especially for myself. I could match up very well on the road, and I actually did a bunch of road racing, more pro continental, and my alter ego has one of the top times up the Haleakala climb on Hawaii.
Oh,
so I could put out, I think on that effort was like 2.5 hours, and I think I put out a little over 360 watts up Haleakala to 10,000 feet.
That's crazy. I probably couldn't keep 360 for like a minute and a half no, actually I've done this already. I did a video with Remy Govan last year, and he had to do intervals of 12 minutes. I think it was like 300 and something watts for 12 minutes. And I can't remember, I think I stayed with him for like three and a half or something before I completely caked it. But
those guys can put out some big numbers. But I think the biggest difference between like elite pro riders and amateurs is just how long they can sustain that power.
Yeah.
Not so much the max.
Yeah, because everyone is all obsessed with like, show us your max watts. And I'm like, well, it's pointless. Because like, I don't think I've ever got over 1,000 actually. I don't think I've hit that club. Although I haven't tried for ages. But like everyone's just like, max watts, what's your max watts? But it's like, it's not, doesn't mean much.
Yeah. No, I mean, I always use like kind of benchmark in my training. I mean, I did a ton of physiology testing, got deep dive into that, but the biggest thing I did was kind of 20-minute climbs at tempo as kind of a benchmark for myself. Not really max, but just kind of tempo, what I could sustain, and that was the best benchmark for me.
Okay. All right, we've got some questions from the villagers, I call it. Because this was meant to be like at the point where you go through the village. And I was like, oh, they're going to ask us some questions. Okay, questions from the villagers. Richard Lindsay asks, how is Geoff staying motivated for races in light of the calendar uncertainty from this pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. It's definitely tough. And I think it's, biggest thing is that I think it's okay to take a break to just kind of reset. Because we really don't know when we're going to be racing. For me, at this point, it may be August, but we don't know. So this time, I mean, I'm up in the mountains. There's snow on the ground outside, so I'm really just trying to, you know, maintain a bit of activity. Luckily, I got Zwift here in the garage, and besides that, just doing some dog walks and hikes. And I mean, I'm really only able to do 10 or 12 hours a week, and there'll be lots of time in the summer to kind of wind it up again. But yeah, I think it's going to be really tough mentally for a lot of athletes, and so it's okay to take a couple weeks to kind of regroup mentally, and there'll be a lot of time to kind of get back into it.
Okay, so you're just like, rather than getting stressed about it, you're just kind of taking it for what it is. Because I guess, do you have like a peak during your plan or anything like that?
No, I mean, that's the thing. These days, I'm just a lot of basic riding, a little bit of intensity here and there. But yeah, luckily I know my body so well. It's pretty standard stuff, and use the racing more to get into shape. I did a couple local NorCal events, Grasshopper Series in January, February, but there'll be lots of time for specific stuff. But yeah, I've never done a lot of intervals, and I wouldn't recommend to be carrying on with that because that'll be tough to maintain and sustain until we start racing again.
Yeah. And what about like sending it? Like, this is something completely relevant to this town, as I mop the sweat off as it starts dripping down. But like, there's obviously, you'll know that there's a huge send it mentality around here, and it's like, gotta go ride the hardest trails all the time, and it's gotta be like no big deal. But like, when did you start to, do you go out and like try and ride, you know, like double black and serious trails around here? Like, is that on your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, fun to push myself and progress. I mean, I didn't grow up a jumper, so I still work on that a bit, but I'm definitely very methodical. And if I can't, the biggest thing, like a lot of the slabs and stuff, if I can't visualize it, I'm not going to drop in. But yeah, like I've ridden Treasure Trail up there and went and rode Sauerkraut.
Oh, did you? Oh, I'm not going near that thing. I'm not going near it. Like, enough people have said, like, it's not, like, the right people have told me, it's like, yeah, I tried. I couldn't do a lot of it. I'm good. I'm like, okay.
No, we went and checked it out, and there was, it was almost perfect conditions, but there was still one drop that I just couldn't visualize. It didn't help that my friends got pretty sketch balls on it, so
yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing. If I can't see it in my head, I'm not going to try it, but it's still fun to go check out those trails. But I've done like Sauerkraut once, and I probably won't go back. But yeah, serious stuff can happen pretty quick, and that's why, especially these days, I'm not going to start hitting the trails for a while.
Yeah. Hey, no, I was almost going to ask a question about e-bikes, but that would suck. Like, everyone knows they're cool, and Yeti probably has one coming out any day now. Okay, so Sidka999, a real internet username, they are doing their first BC bike race this summer/fall. What would Geoff recommend tyre-wise for Maxxis for an average rider? he's thinking about going something a little beefier.
Yeah, I mean, depends where you're coming from, but I mean, as you know, it's still an endurance race, but depending on your technical level, I think like if you want a bit more confidence, it's definitely good to go with a bigger volume. You know, as all the routes can get really rough after the week, and so if you want a bit more confidence, a grippy like front tire is always good. So something like a Forecaster 235, which has a bit more volume and those big square knobs to dig in, and something bigger volume like a 235 Icon, which still rolls pretty well, is kind of a good combo. But like, you know, it's a bit of a balance because you don't want to get stuck too far back in the group and then not be able to enjoy the descents. But
Yeah.
something like if you're just having fun, something like a Minion 2.3 DHF, can't go wrong with that if you just really want to be confident on the trail. And if you want to have a bit more speed, those bigger Icons are always a good match. And for me, I grew up on this trail, so I definitely run a lot less knob.
Yeah. I went with something pretty beefy and then like just a semi-slick on the back.
Yeah.
Mainly because that's all I had on offer from the people that sponsored me last year.
Yeah.
It was fine.
But definitely, like, I mean, I started using them second half of the year, and Felix, who won the BC bike race last year, ran the XC Cush Core, which really could be an option for people to check out if they want more grip and confidence. And I'm pretty sold on those, and I'll be running them this year for sure.
Okay, real quick question, because we're into the last bit. Hold on, you're dropping me. Wait, come back. So, oh, this gets so steep now. Okay, real quick question. Are you going to do any gravel races? Because you've done cyclocross and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a bunch. I've done Dirty Kansas a couple times, which is pretty ridiculous. Wasn't planning on going back this year. This year I had Lost and Found, one of the Sierra Trail races here. I was going to do in June, but kind of skeptical that was going to happen. Did the SBT gravel last year, which was a great first year event. I was planning on jumping in that, but
so yeah,
it sounds. I mean, if it opens up, the fall is going to be nuts. So I'll just have to see what I can fit in.
Okay, Geoff.
But there's some great gravel riding around here.
Yeah. Oh, I don't get it. Well, that's a whole different conversation. But Geoff, we're hitting the peak. The grade's getting steeper at 13% right now, and it's time to ramp up the questions as we hit the peak of seriousness. So, when were you most afraid mountain biking?
Most afraid, I mean, it's probably, I mean, I didn't grow up jumping, so it's always that moment of commitment when I decide I'm gonna try a larger gap, or definitely like we were just talking about, man, some of those slabs, kind of those butterflies. I remember one ride I did in Britannia Bay, which I'm sure you've checked out, where there's some massive drop-ins. And I think that's one of the hardest ones because we actually hiked uphill for like 40 minutes. And then without taking a pedal stroke, had to drop into this like 30-foot slab. And
oh no, we've lost him. Are we back? Okay, technical difficulties, everyone. Oh, I need to add him. Oh, one sec. Where's the mouse? Oh, we were doing so well. Oh, he's completely gone. Hold on. Geoff, come back. All right. I haven't got the camera set. I haven't got the camera set up. We're just gonna have to do this. We'll have to wait until Geoff comes back, and I'll hang out. What have we got? We were so close. We'll see what happens. Geoff is definitely in the mountains, big time. Oh, it's gonna get good. What's going on? I'll engage in the chat. Everyone come on over. Woof! Let's hang out. Where even is he? Is he still there? Yeah, he's stopped. I guess he's... Oh, if his internet's gone out, it's completely gone crazy. Ah! Once he's texted me. Just dropped on the stream. He's going to reconnect. All right, we'll hang out. Whew! Been doing pretty good. I wasn't even getting dropped by him. Okay, what have we got in the chat? What's everyone been up to? That would be something I'd like to see. It's not no over the hill. It's not a potty break. Been mountain biking since 2016. Don't know the story of the punter. What's it meaning? Oh, I can tell you because there's 104 people watching right now. So I'll tell you. Basically, we used to call punters the people that turned up at the Queenstown Bike Park, like the tourists, and everyone would have sunglasses on and full face helmets and the big body armor from the rental companies, and we call them punters. And then I realized that actually it takes a lot of cojones to turn up and just try downhill mountain biking one day. It's a pretty big deal. Let me see if I can just create a new thing here so you can see my face. One moment, people. One moment. Window capture. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh god. This is going to take a little bit of diddling here, but I'm pretty quick with this stuff, so it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, and whoop, and okay. Hello. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. We're going to wait and see if we can finish this climb with Geoff, because it was going really well. We had some really good chats. Okay, you can all hear me now. There it is. Hello. Okay. Have I ever thought about getting on a fat bike ride? I have fat biked before. Oh, he's back. He is back. Geoff.
I don't know what happened.
What happened to Zwift?
1 second.
Were you still logged in?
I'm still on Zwift.
Where are you?
I'm just...
Oh, you're ahead of me. Hang on. Oh, he's gone again. Oh no, Geoff, no. Let's see. We might be able to add another one. Don't add that. I want to add this. I should have had a backup. Okay, there's Zwift. And there's this. Now watch this. Prepare to be amazed. Oh wow. I should call this one the backup one. Right. Woo! We're still there. We're still hanging in. I'll catch up with. I won't look back into the chat. We'll come. We'll go back. I wonder if I can get and catch him up. Ah. Hello. Let's go full screen here. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'll watch out for him. I've got the chat. Plan B. Dan didn't break it, Ben. It was fine. Yeah, Brady, Richie Rude has joined Zwift. So if you wanted to, he's on this ride somewhere. I don't know where he is, but Richie is somewhere. I think that's Geoff, isn't it? Oh no, that's someone else. Geoff seems to have died from Zwift. he is deep in the mountains in Truckee. This is really hurting me with corn tie. Terry, I appreciate corn. That's for sure. Oh, I can't. I can't see Zwift because I need the webcam going, in order to see if Geoff's going to come back. Wait. Oh, I can do this. I can do this. There we go. Okay. Right. We're gonna finish this climb, just in case Geoff is missing. Oh. Lies. Dan doesn't break everything. Ben, I'm going to assume, is one of Dan's friends from back in the UK. I was telling the punter story. Okay, but I finished telling it, I think. Basically, I just wanted to improve as a mountain biker and keep getting better. And if I call myself a punter at all times, it reminds me that I always have work to do. But we'll do a whole video one day. I kind of want to get someone really, like an amazing video person involved. We'll see. Use that aero boost. Oh, good thinking. Oh, it's going to make it ever so slightly easier. This climb is savage. Okay, back to no audio. Oh, Sandy, I'm so sorry. Been waiting all day. Unfortunately, the internet. We were doing so well. I can't begin to tell you how long that actually takes. Not sure if Swiss has meltdown starting things out. All right, Geoff, he's coming back. Whew. Oh, Boston, you have a full punter t-shirt. Oh, I did answer it. Oh, good. No, yeah, I've heard there are different meanings. It's not anything sketchy. I did hear something about prostitutes, or I don't know. It's not that. Michael, no Jerry podcast. Where like things have been pretty hectic with me trying to sort out everything, and Shane just moved house, and he now has 2 kids at all times indoors. So, but we'll figure it out. I'll be honest, I really want to get Alex on, single track sampler, but I haven't asked him yet, so that's my bad. Okay, some people riding with us. Yeah, I did hear a lot of the BC Bike Race people were riding with Cushcore cross country. Oh, over the hill, I'm sorry. More gravel races than mountain bike. I'm gonna answer that for Geoff. He's probably not. Woo! Oh, Terry. Oh, Terry Rigby. I was just looking. Oh, maybe we can stop because Geoff might be able to jump in and join me. If Terry's figured out how to join us. Hello, Terry. I see you just go past. So long. Oh, I can see him. Oh, are you back?
Yeah. I think, I don't know what had a meltdown there. I don't know if I can you see me now?
I can see you on the screen, yeah. I don't know if I can see you in Zwift. Have you joined? No.
Somehow I think Zwift is still running in the background, even though I can't find it.
Yeah, I can. Hang on. If you go share screen on StreamYard, it should find it.
Yeah, I can't see Zwift, but I can.
No, can you? If you click share screen.
I can share my entire screen.
No, if you click share screen on. Oh, that's why, because it's playing. If you hit share screen on StreamYard, it should give you the option to find if Zwift is there. Because you are in the game, I can see you.
Huh.
I can't backpedal though.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I can. Hold
I
on.
think-
That's complete rubbish. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna come get you.
Oh.
Turn. Turn. Why does it never turn? Ah.
Well, I can hear you. Technical difficulties. I don't know where I am because.
Well, if you keep just pedal and then and see if
Alright.
you move, I can see you on the app here.
Yeah.
You're going, but you can't see it on your screen.
Oh, I can see myself on the companion app.
Yeah, that's so funny.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
That's hilarious. All right. Anyway, why don't we get
yeah.
back? Why don't we get back to it? Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Does being a professional cyclist have an expiration date?
Well, I used to think so. Man, like I think that's what I mean. I used to think like in terms of Olympic cycles. So I was like, oh, maybe 2012, 2016, I'll be 39. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll keep riding till then. But at a certain point, I was just like, why do I need to stop if I'm still having fun? And I mean, yeah, that's the thing. There's so many fun events that I get to do now that our sponsors care about, like BC Bike Race. And really cool chance now that I get to do these events. I think for most of my career, I was traveling so much, I didn't get to do a lot of the fun events, in my own province and in North America. So, I mean, I'm having a ton of fun, still motivated. I think as long as I'm motivated and having fun, the body's holding up for now. So we'll see how long I can keep going.
Nice. And what if have you had this thought? Like, what if we're never allowed outside again? What if, I mean, we're pretty good in Canada, like still, it's not too bad. It's not like the UK or France or Italy. But like, what if we're never allowed to go mountain biking again? What would that world look like for you?
Well, I mean, I'm coping pretty well after 2 weeks, but man, I can't believe, like I was just saying, like I've missed one event so far, and it feels like we've been inside for a year. But no, I mean that'd be tough. I mean, that's what I played a lot of sports growing up that happened inside, but that's what kind of I fell in love with mountain biking, was kind of getting out and exploring the trails, and especially lucky in BC, such a special place. And I'd definitely be pretty sad if we weren't able to go up, but hopefully if we all do the right thing, for whether it's a couple weeks or a couple months, life will return to normal, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I came back to quarantine from the States, and me and Dan are free on Friday. And,
oh yeah.
I've just got this e-bike sitting on my garage. I can't wait. It's like perfect, like just chill trails, like no guilty of like, oh, we're not giving it or whatever. It's gonna be so much fun.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to come up with distractions, working on my check on Duolingo.com, trying to
Oh really? Check.
read some books.
Is it why check?
My drinking buddy, quarantine partner is Czech. You might have met her last year at BC Bike Race, Katarina.
Ah, okay. So you've obviously learned like Nstravi, for example.
Yeah, I got the jedna pivo, dva piva. The important things: 1 beer, 2 beer.
Yeah.
How are you? But yeah, I was trying to explain to her, my ESL drinking buddy, what punter meant. I don't know if you.
Funnily enough, while you were down, someone asked it in the stream, and I did it. But very,
Okay.
like I'm gonna make a whole. I want to do like a massive video on it one day. Like real high budget, just completely over the top. I already know what the thumbnail would be, but it's just like when I worked at the bike park in Queenstown after leaving Dirt, and it was like you'd have the tourists come, like no other place in the world, right? It was a completely different type of tourist that would come, and it would always be like the sunglasses, the full face helmets, the big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle protection, strapped around jeans, and we'd call them punters. We'd be like, oh yeah, punter this, punter that, like that was the code. But then I realized like what balls it takes just to turn up and try downhill mountain biking. I don't know if you've ridden in Queenstown Bike Park. It's pretty legit, like everywhere, even the green. So
well, that's what I mean. I have so much respect for the people that take on these events I do that are tough for me as an athlete. But yeah, people showing up to BCBR or Breck Epic or some of these crazy long events are hard for me. And man, a lot of respect to those punters signing up.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's just like a positive thing where people turn up and they're just trying, and that's the most important thing. But okay, have you ever cried because of mountain biking?
Yeah, I remember. Man, it was a blow in 2006. One of the big goals as a Commonwealth rider. People don't know all the British nations have a major games, kind of like the Olympics, Commonwealth Games, and that year was down in Australia. And I trained all year for it in the spring. Actually got to ride the Oceania Games, won that race, went to Commonwealth Games on a high, and I could not have felt any worse if I'd tried. And I was pretty devastated. I mean, I didn't know why. And a week later, I found out I had an inner ear virus that just kind of destroyed my body. But man, at that moment, coming to the race as a favorite, and man, I couldn't have felt worse if I got completely wasted and didn't sleep all night. I had nothing to give, and that was emotionally pretty tough race for sure.
And did you have like lots of interviews and press asking you about it as well, and you had to explain it like 100 times, or?
Yeah, I mean, I just had to really walk away from the finish and take a few minutes to compose myself.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess something like that happened to Emily Batty this year. Like she was, right on the podium pretty much every race last year, and then just comes into this season, something goes wrong. It must be crushing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's interesting about sport. I mean, I've been racing for 25 years, and the body is a pretty complicated thing, and it's hard to figure out. I mean, you do your best to learn and keep on improving, but I mean, yeah, sometimes you just feel invincible, and sometimes, the body just doesn't show up, and you don't know why. Yeah,
I had one of those body doesn't show up days on the bike race. I was on the float plane.
Oh yeah.
Which was a mistake. I ended up, obviously we got up super early, and then we got on the plane, and we turned up with 20 minutes to go before the start line, and I hadn't eaten anything. We had to stand up the whole time, and then I died on that day.
Oh, that's a brutal day.
Yeah, and I couldn't eat anything that evening. I was normally on 2 plates of food every night, and I couldn't even get one down, and then died again the next day.
Yeah.
Then Squamish came, and it was all back to normal.
That's the hardest. I always find that second Sunshine Coast day the hardest.
Oh, it sucked. Sure. I actually broke my derailleur hanger with 20 kilometers to go, and I was riding the other brand, then for gears. Yeah. And I got given what I thought was the right dropout, but I had the Shimano dropout, not the other one. And I was like, I'll just fix this now. Yeah. And then I couldn't, so I walked the 20 kilometers with my bike.
Oh, yeah.
And just gave up. Well, no, I didn't give up. I carried on. The marshal or whatever was telling me, I can get picked up on the quad. And I was like, no, I'm just going to walk. It's fine. But yeah. All right, Geoff. We've peaked over the top. We're on the descent. We can chill out now, and we'll wrap this stream up. We almost got all the way through with no technical difficulties, which was next level, especially for a YouTube live stream, I can tell you. But hey, let's round it up. Who do you want to say thanks to? Who are you grateful for in your mountain biking world?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for sure. I think for all athletes right now, and just want to thank all the companies that are, sticking behind the athletes and supporting them. For me, it's been Yeti the last few years, and Maxis has been a huge supporter of mine since 2004. And like I said, we both ride for Shimano. That's hugely important. Fox and Stands and so many companies out there, Camelback and Goo, and I'm just really, really appreciative to have that support. And we're all trying to hustle and keep doing our jobs. But for sure, the most important thing is for everyone to follow the health recommendations and stay inside. And hopefully we'll all be able to get out on the trails together soon. But for now, yeah, thanks for putting this together. And hopefully we can say hi to everyone and keep people entertained a little bit.
Yeah. Who else do you think would be a great guest to have?
I mean, there's a ton of people. I can hit up my my Czech roommate if you want to chat with her. She's always got some interesting stories.
We can just sub everyone in from Casa to Geoff. All right, yeah. Okay, hey everyone, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for sticking with it. We had technical difficulties, but actually somehow more people started watching during that time. So there you go. All right. Cheers, punters. Everyone. I'll see you next time. Bop. Hold on. We've got to wait for the button.